Good evening, dear viewers. On Deep Talks tonight, the virtual reality of love and life, we have someone really, really beautiful inside and out. She's Andrea Mason, and I'm so glad that she has taken out her precious time for us tonight. It is wonderful to connect to people across the globe and bring a smile to not only them, but to all those who are watching us tonight. I'm happy that Srishti has accepted to introduce Andrea Mason tonight for the show Deep Talks, and it is privileged enough that this feeling to every time talk to a new soul on the seat that is rightly stated as a seat of love, the unconditional love that we all have in our hearts. It just flows. It is just a feeling that grows even after every single episode. Tonight, we are having the 65th episode of Deep Talks, the virtual stage, and I hope that you enjoy this conversation as much as I do while hosting it every single time. It is something that's so close to my mission of life to help each and every soul transform their lives for betterment. Hello, Srishti, and hello, Andrea. So I request Srishti to introduce Andrea and let this conversation begin.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening and welcome, everyone. It is my honor to introduce to you our guest for tonight, Miss Andrea Mason. Andrea Mason is a daughter, mother, wife, friend, and a loved one who always provides positivity into life. Her sole purpose, mission, and goal is to create a legacy for a better world for her family, community, and society. Her knowledge and experience include over 2 decades in personal development, a major in psychology, BSW in social work, and experience in the mental health, medical, and wellness fields. She is certified in professional organizing, entrepreneurship, and as a certified international motivational speaker under Mr. Les Brown. Her extraordinary commitment has always been to help people overcome their challenge, losses, and improve their life experiences. She is the creator of the innovative and customary life transformational skills, utilizing the power of healing and forgiveness called play, plan life according to you. She takes pride in providing the best content. Her goal includes inspiring and creating a legacy for a better world and empowering all whom she meets to achieve and surpass their fullest potential. She has been affectionately labeled the female version of the iconic Mr. Rogers. She has been named the United States of America's leading accountability coach, who always works with integrity and is here to guide you every step of the way. If you are tired of living a life without meaning, or you are tired of working and getting nowhere, and you need help to build a life according to your dreams, she can be your one stop destination. She is passionate about helping people and have the expertise in life changing strategies. She will help you by mentoring and guiding you step by step in the process to reach the best version of yourself. I take this opportunity to introduce Ms.Gurleen Khokhar, who is a prominent psychologist and is the host of this conversation. She, with her mental health initiative, works towards breaking the barriers to express and never forget the original self, which usually gets lost in achievements. Today, she has chosen Miss Andrea Mason to share her wonderful experiences, and it is noteworthy to be joining this terrific conversation. I hope you all enjoy this beautiful talk, and I would love to see everyone sharing and liking this soon to make us feel right. I leave the virtual stage of communication open to the public and ma'am for leading the way up. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks a lot, Srishti. It was a terrific introduction to who Andrea Mason is. It was wonderful to know this beautiful lady who has taken out her time tonight to be with us. And I now would love to say a hello to Andrea and welcome her once again on this Deep Talks virtual reality on love and life. So, how is it that you're feeling while coming on this virtual reality show, Andrea? How do you feel?
I feel amazing, girly, and this is backs up my mission, my legacy, and my message across the world. We need to help individuals recognize and understand who they are and allow them to be comfortable in their own skin. Absolutely.
Fantastic. And it is indeed an honor for me to just host somebody across the globe and feel that humanity is still alive. We all have challenges in our life, and we openly discuss this on our platforms. So I would love to ask you, Andrea, you are a personal accountability coach. What made you choose this profession, and how did you feel when you were thinking about choosing this profession? What was that turning point in your life that made you feel that this is it and this is what you want to do with your life and make others also aligned with your thought process to help them grow and into better individuals? I would love to ask you this question because it's a great question that cropped in my mind when I looked at your picture, transform, grow with a new leaf in your hand. I would love to.
Yes, excellent question. Thank you, Ms.Gurleen. So for first off, was born in Colombia, South America. It was
Wow.
underdeveloped and during a war-torn drug zone era. My parents had to put me up for adoption and made the ultimate sacrifice to allow me to enhance my quality of life and make a life transformation. I arrived at America at 11 months at 11 pounds. Imagine that. That's a pound
Yes.
per month. But I was welcome
True.
in unconditional love and open arms of my family in America, and they had always instilled this legacy into my life. Andrea, no
True.
matter what you do your best, do it right, and do it passionately. And
True.
my path has brought me to that of the industries of social work and psychology because I wanted to learn more about who I was. I wanted to understand the characteristics and the science behind personal development and life transformation. And during
True.
my elementary young years, my childhood years, I was bullied. I was the outcast. I didn't fit in because of my features, because of the way I spoke. Remember, I came from Colombia,
Gosh.
came into America, and it had empowered me to follow my path to do what I hold true today. Follow my heart and not the herd, for the herd
True.
will get you hurt. And in doing
Yes.
so, I had taken on the research and the initiative to follow my passion to have understand why people did what they did and why they didn't do what they did. And in
True.
that, I realized that I was on a mission to break the stigmatism, break the label of mental health, because everybody has the same story. They go through
Yes.
grief, they go through loss, they go through anger, they go through fear. But at different stages, everybody handles it differently based on their childhood or based on their mindset. And that was
True.
the point when I had suppressed all of those emotions because I felt that if I needed to evolve and transform, but I didn't have any of the symptoms that the society has portrayed on mental health, that I didn't need any assistance. So I suppressed
Fantastic.
emotions.
True.
And when I suppressed those emotions, I ended up in the hospital for a week. I was on the
So true.
unit and I wasn't able to see my family and friends, but they didn't understand what was going on. And Gurleen, this is the power of the mind. My
Yes.
mindset was that I was constantly going, constantly working, constantly helping others. But you know what? I wasn't helping myself first. And that put
Yes.
me into the position that I was in. And when
Yeah.
my husband had spoke to me on the phone and said, you know what? Your son, our son, I need you home. You need to come home. I reverted back to my teachings, mind over matter. I remembered the secret and I was able to graciously walk on my own free will for the first time in an entire week, use of my
Yes.
and consume beverages and food, and I was
Yes.
discharged on my own will. And I remember that day picking up our son from school and him saying, Mommy, it's like Christmas. I prayed for you to come home, and I'm glad you're here. And Gurleen, that was the turning point that I knew I didn't have to have a diagnosis. I didn't have to have a statistic. I didn't have to have
Exactly.
I needed to know that my health was my number one asset. And I had to take
True.
a pen in my own story in my own hands and make a difference. And that is what brings me to here as an accountability coach. You may not
That is fantastic.
feel
It is
you
something that requires a lot of confidence, Andrea, because the
absolutely
courage that you have endured the challenges in your life, they speak volume. So, was it really, because I know it is difficult to state it on a show like this, where there are deep topics talked about, and we break the myths, to talk about facts and not manipulated things and stuff. So there are
correct.
many people who have joined us today evening. One is Arasu Pish. It says, good evening, Gurleen ji. There is Sunny Singh who has said, nice session. There are people who are saying, Andrea, absolutely, very well stated. There
Thank
is
you.
Krishnan and saying good conversation. There is Rehana Sher saying great conversation. And thanks a lot, my dear viewers, who have joined us tonight with Andrea Mason, because she's going to share her deep secrets of life, which can benefit not one, but many who are watching this Deep Talks virtual reality of life. And let me tell you, viewers, it takes a lot of confidence, a lot of willpower to speak about one's own self. And it is indeed a deal with your own self. As you stated, Andrea, the challenge you faced, you could have been in the hospital. I'm so sure that anybody facing, all these taboos, the stereotypical thoughts in the mindset of people where they reject people, ignore people for their complexion, color,
Mhm.
it is seriously a topic to talk on. Like, why do people think like that? Are they still having those old thoughts in their mind where we are trying to now channelize the youth, the coming youth, into something that can think open mindedly? So, how do you take these shows which talk about open minded topics? I am talking about sensuality, sexuality, and all those things which a normal woman cannot, afford to talk in the Indian society openly. Do you think these kind of topics should be the need of the hour to be talked about? Because there are many stories which are still not stated and are not out in the public because of the fear of status and stigma. So, do you think that yours was also one where you faced your share of struggles? Do you think these kind of platforms really help people in their mental health?
You know what, Corleen, that's an excellent question. And as being a global motivational speaker within these coming months, I have spoken about the truth. I have spoken about integrity, authenticity, and
Yes,
most important component that we must understand is when we act with integrity, that is when we are most authentic. And that is when we become comfortable in our own skin. Somebody is
true,
watching, somebody is listening. And until we uphold and face our past rather than have our past chase us, we have to learn to forgive. And the most important
true,
key in forgiveness is not only the incident, not only the occurrence, but we forgive ourselves because
true,
we are the ones that are carrying the baggage, carrying the trauma, carrying the pain over and
true.
over years and years. And until we forgive ourselves and say, you know what, the situation has occurred. However,
Yes,
it's not a reflection of me. It may be a reflection of the other person or the incident. And we must
true.
learn to get to the root cause of the incident to understand how we will move forward. And I'm not saying to forget, because if we forget, it happens again. These are the
True.
scars and the emotional tears that will build us up and professionally and personally develop us down the road.
True. So, as a personal accountability coach, Andrea, you bring a hope in people's life. I would love to know what kind of tools and skills are needed to be accountable in the modern society.
Hello, I think I lost you. Are you there? All right, everyone. It looks like we are on a delay with Ms.Gurleen. I do apologize. I believe she was going to ask what are the key. Oh, here she
You
comes.
still can help. listen to us, because this is
Mhm.
what keeps the game going. Life is
Yes,
about facing the challenges, and we are right there in front of you. So I was
absolutely.
saying that you as a personal accountability coach bring a new hope to people. What are
Yes.
these skills that you use as a personal accountability coach to help people become better?
Absolutely. Excellent question. Some of the skills and tools that I utilize is self-awareness, self-discovery. Once you are able to understand your true self, you are able to have a better connection with individuals
True,
because the areas that you may require improvement, you can find another individual who can guide you and assist you in that. And in turn, you may be an area of improvement that they need assistance with. It's effective
true,
communication, effective listening, self awareness and self discovery, and making a conscious effort of investing in yourself, whether that be financial, time, health, wealth, peace of mind, and taking the time to keep yourself grounded. These are some of
yes.
the points that I work with individuals on.
Wow. So, do you think that professional organizational tips do help in becoming a better person? And is it involved in the strategic planning and, creating a vision for the
Yes.
future?
Absolutely. It is, Arnold Schwarzenegger said at one point, you can have the best pilot, the best aircraft in the world, but if you don't know where you're going, it's just a materialistic item. And our
Yes,
mind is our vehicle. And Gurleen, you hit it right on the head. Having a clear vision will be able to expand the horizon of your mindset and open up all windows of options. Open mindedness is a very, very key for that. When you have a clear vision, you will able then with professional organizational tools prioritize, strategize, and plan the necessary steps. Rome wasn't built in a day. A tree doesn't grow
true,
overnight. These are the small
true.
steps and small strategies that we celebrate the wins to keep us going. Today's
That's fantastic.
world, it's always immediate gratification, instant
Yes,
response. And that's not how it usually goes. We
true,
evolve, we learn about each other. If we fail forward. And with every
yes,
failure becomes a lesson. With every failure
true.
comes a loss. But on the other side of the coin, you will gain knowledge and empowerment and strength.
True. True. So we have heard about mind shift a lot.
Mhm.
We would love to know from you what exactly does mind shift, how does it work, and what does it really mean? Because that
Absolutely.
is really very interesting to me as a psychologist. How can we shift our minds for better life?
Abs-
So, what is mindset
Absolutely.
meaning to you, Andrea?
Yes, I love this question because mind shift to me, and I use the analogy of changing your channel. So to
True,
keep it simple, I will give you an example. You wake up in the morning, you sit out of bed and you see the sun shining and the fresh air, and you know it's going to be a great day. However,
true.
drape your feet over the bed, you stub your toe. You're still a little
Yes,
from the night before, you realize you don't have much toothpaste left. After that, you realize that the outfit you had planned is still in the wash. This is
true,
all a trickling down effect. And if you let it continue, it will be a
true,
tornado to others. So the
true,
changing of the channel is okay, you know what? I stubbed my toe. Just let me embrace it and just grind my teeth for a minute. That has passed. On to the
yes,
next. So let mind shift is the perspective that you put on an incident at that moment. We are all energy beings. And you ever walk in
true,
a room and you feel somebody and you feel like a little tension that, wow, this is not a really comfortable place. That is the energy that's being emulated from the other individuals. You come into a place with a smile, your head held high in great posture, you're bringing that light with you. And this is what we have to be mindful of. Our
true,
energy attracts what we feel. And that also backs to our mindset. If we're in a good mood,
Yes.
give off good energy. If we're in a sad mood, give off, and that's what we attract. So the mind shift model is that of being to be aware of your surroundings and to be creative enough to put yourself in check every single moment throughout the day.
That's fantastically wrapped up by you what mind shift is all about. And my dear viewers, sorry for the technical glitch because it can happen
Yes.
anytime and we have no control over it. But what we
Right.
can control is the growth, which we are up to. And we are trying to define the root causes of why one does a particular thing and why one doesn't do a particular thing to create effective solutions. And that is what Andrea Mason and I am talking about. It's all about
Mhm.
your mental shift. So, Andrea, I would love to ask you a question being a psychologist. I know an intelligent question is something like IQ is considered really important for children to, get higher admissions and professional jobs and everything that's related to success. But somehow I vary a little bit than others. I feel that there is a difference of thought process when we talk about IQ and EQ. Emotional stability, emotional question. Enhancing the emotional stability and maintaining a balance in life is really very important, is what I've learned through my struggles. Do you really connect with me on this thought? Because I feel if you can share an experience where you think emotions need to be in check and there has to be something that is related to success with emotional stability. So, do you have a say on this topic? Because it is something that's relevant enough in modern times.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Gurleen. It is definitely about the emotional stability. I've learned and I've studied, and I've had a conversation with one of my friends recently that is also studying that, our mind is molded in the, early stages of life, even in utero, in the first 7 months. And then with the first like 10 or 11 years, there's also an area where if we have traumatic surroundings or traumatic experiences, that can shift the brain's operation. And also
Yes.
emotional stability, it's where you came from. And for example, I'll use myself as an example. For the first 11 months of my life, I was in a drug torn war zone era, explosions going off, gunshots, screaming, crying.
Yes.
Now, mind you, I was only 11 months old, but that's a huge
Yes.
trauma for a young individual. And when we
True.
get the root cause of our external reactions, our internal reactions, for example, a couple of weeks ago, the other day, we had a bad, severe thunder and lightning storm. Now
Oh
I'm a
gosh.
of I'm going on my second round of my 20s, and I kind of quivered and I kind of twitched, and my husband kind of laughs. He's like, "What's going on? You're an adult." But when you look
Yes.
at when you look at the background and the science behind it, that is emulating the trauma that I experienced as a young child. I truly
True.
believe in nature and nurturance. I truly believe in that. However,
True.
what is a difficult pill to swallow per se is when when you're pursuing your dream. This is what I tell young
Yes.
individuals. Have a vision, do your research, make sure you invest in yourself and let your family in on what your dreams are. But truth be
True.
told, be expected that they might not have the same vision. They might not have the same dream, but that's okay because it's your dream. And with social
True.
media, if you're telling a message and you get 99 thumbs up, right?
Yes.
Have that
Yes.
one thumb down. I don't know, but something in the mind says focuses on that negative response because we are so quick to be critiqued and labeled and programmed to have a negative connotation that we
True.
dismiss all of our support system. So one of my
True.
messages is to you is to embrace and welcome those who support you. But most
True.
importantly, my quote, follow your heart and not the herd, whether it be a herd
True.
of people or what you hear. Truth and happiness will be on this other side because you're doing it and you're comfortable in your skin.
True. That is so nicely stated by you, Andrea.
Thank
Um,
you.
when I see this, I feel that whenever I bring forth a guest on this show, it's all about honesty, hard work,
Mhm.
humanity at its best. Where love takes a seat, confidence gets a high, sky becomes a mission, flight deals with the thoughts that can be converted in progressive actions. We
That's
at
it.
this Inner Counseling Services spread awareness through deep talk under my program that is Soch Ke Udan Desh Ke Naam, which is a transformational platform. And I feel happy that tonight we are having a conversation with a beautiful soul, Andrea Mason, as a personal accountability coach. My dear viewers who are watching us, they would love to share this because something is really important that she's sharing. And we as
Mhm.
Indians would love to know that what all it takes to become a better individual could be learned from any person from any field. It is talking about priorities. She has talked about goal setting. She's talked about planning, which is strategy. She's talked about professional organizational tips, and she also believes in promotional content as well. And I know that we have had a conversation where we are just letting others know what we are talking about. It's all about emotional stability and balance in life. It's about defining the root causes of why one does a particular thing and how one can create effective solutions in life. It's all about what's your true purpose in life. What
Mhm.
is it that will satisfy you as a person and you can feel contented and you can still grow? It is learning and defining the why in life. That is what
Mhm.
Andrea Mason is talking about, my dear viewers. And now I would love to ask Andrea,
Mhm.
what do you think of empowerment? When you see women stating it as a women empowerment thing that's happening, people go on the streets, women are going on streets to talk about their issues. Do you really think that they really need to be on the roads to talk about their issues? And sometimes women misuse that power as well when they say they are feminists. So, what is
Right.
your approach about such a topic, which is quite the talk of the town? And I would rather say that a man is also needed in life as a companion to walk together, and still a woman can fly. But only if the person understands the other party, the companion should understand and respect the other person's differences. So I would love to say that in India, women are still following the patriarchal rules and still are suppressed so that they can't fly high. The ones who get the opportunity, they get a platform like I am, and I'm honored that my parents have given me the freedom to host and do whatever I feel, and I achieve the best of the worst situations even in my life. So, what is your take on women empowerment and such bold issues where women fear talking about it because they fear that they might be taken to death or they might commit a suicide or something like that that is so negative?
Absolutely. You've nailed it right on the head. Empowerment comes from within, and it's all
True,
about living through the heart, speaking the truth. The truth will
true.
set you free. However, everybody doesn't understand from their teachings, their experiences, their limited or lack of resources of knowledge. And I truly believe that, like you said, we also, as in America, encourage the women to feel comfortable. However, across the world, we just have to erase the mindset of conquer and divide and
True.
embrace the concept of rise and unite. Our biggest competitors that I have seen is against ourselves, our same, you know, camaraderie. And I see women constantly competing against women, men competing against men, and then you have the duality of men versus women. And if we all
True.
understand and get back to the human race that we are all human beings by the same creator, and if we learn how to effectively communicate and understand one another or educate one another, sure, there will be times where we agree to disagree, but that's what makes us
Yes.
authentic. That's what makes us unique. And that is what we have to embrace in doing it in a civil and respectful manner. Because
True. That is so
under,
fantastically stated by you. Yeah.
thank you. On my journey, the past couple of months, I've spoken on all areas of the world. And my limited knowledge was very, very scarce. And when I started looking into the Middle East, the South America, North America, Europe, I got a better understanding from the individuals I've connected with. I've gotten the real stories, not the fabricated stories that may portray an area of the world as poverty, an area of the world that is violent. I got to know the inner beings and understanding why people do. And one of the key points I'd like to mention that I forgot
Why not?
was
True.
that people act on what they know. And the
Yes.
knowledge that they just continue the good or poor behaviors. And it's a reflection of their environment, their mindset, and all that they've been experienced to. So when I'm
True.
learning about other people all over the world, I'm learning what their strengths are. I'm learning about what their needs are. And I'm understanding the abundant or limited resources that they have. And I'm doing it with effective communication, passion, and respect. When we can connect on that level, that's the definition of empowerment of humanity and human race.
That is wonderful. And I am just in awe of what you stated because every talk gains a little from what is going on in the world and what one has learned over the years. So we are in conversation with Andrea Mason and making the best of the conversations alive tonight on Deep Talks, my dear viewers. The ones who have joined us, I am grateful that you have taken out your time because time is value. And I understand the importance of someone coming on this show as well as sharing their deepest, darkest secrets because that could be something beneficial for everyone to learn from. Because she has rightly stated importance of socialization somewhere. People during the lockdown, the pandemic, which has affected a lot many mindsets. I would love to talk on this, Andrea, because during the pandemic, we all were fearful about the consequences of the same. But at the same time, being mental health experts, we were trying to let people know the situation that is there and how can they optimistically think about things they can work in their homes and under one roof. What can they do to make their passions still alive? So what was your thought when this pandemic affected a lot many people, and what did you do while you were undergoing this traumatic phase which the world is still going? I mean, it's still there and we are all
Yes,
vaccinated against this virus. So
right.
I would love to know your idea on the same.
Absolutely. For me, 2020 was a year of clarity. It allowed me to expand my passion and really hone into what I wanted to do. And it
True.
brought front in my family dinners, connect
True.
family across the country virtually. For when we
Wow.
usually see them through holidays of weddings and funerals, we're able to see them on the other side of the screen. I was able
Wow.
to meet with individuals who have been a prisoner of their own home, who may not have the technology or equipment to connect or the intellect or education to use technology. And I've been
True.
able to connect with individuals like I'm sitting right next to them. What you
True.
see, you get with me. No excuses, just results. And when you
Wow.
connect on an emotional and mature level with your family and friends, that is what speaks volume. And Gurleen,
Yes.
today time is a gift. It cannot
True.
be replaced, it cannot be taken back. That's why we
True.
are present when we are in the presence of others. Although our
True.
children have been able to be educated behind the screen, it's not the same.
Yes.
They have
Yes.
impaired social skills. They have
True.
lost that luster of connecting and holding somebody's hand or patting them on the shoulder and saying, good job. Some
Yes.
countries have been able to open back up. And for us, our son just went back to school the second or third week of April. And he has
Yes.
excelled more than he could when he was
Wow.
virtual because he had the camaraderie of his peers, of his classmates. Remember, our
That's
future
great.
corporations are learning to individuals from just this high, just their eyes.
Yes.
Although
True.
the eyes are the truth, the eyes are the truth of the beholder, that
Yes.
interpersonal connection still reigns true. The touch of a
That,
mother to a child, a
yeah.
grandmother to her son. It's just
Yes.
the level of empowerment that is lost. But what we can learn from this is we've actually been able to put a pause on life and
True.
recognize the finer things in life that are not materialistic, that are not valued, but are priceless, that are family, time, patience, and peace within their own home once again.
That is wonderfully stated by you, Andrea, because this is talking about milk of human kindness. During the pandemic, people have realized the importance of human lives. And
Mhm.
I'm thankful enough to the Lord above that has given me the opportunity to start such a program where I can connect to people sitting across the globe and still make friends and learn to grow. I would love to ask you a question. Do you think in personal freedom, forgiveness has a role to play? Because I do believe that it's a great tool to personal freedom. As I have seen you and I've seen your shows, the show that you did with Beata, who's my
Yes.
friend also. We also had a conversation on Deep Talks, and I invited her as well. So we
Mhm.
all are well knit together. I would love to know that personally speaking, I also believe that forgiveness has a role to play. What is your take on it?
Absolutely. In order for one to achieve personal freedom, we must face our past and learn to forgive. The reason why I say that is because we do not evolve if we don't forgive. And the most important power of forgiveness is letting go, learning from those scars, learning from those traumas. And in order to move forward in life, for example, if we have not, if I have, for example, for me, if I had not learned the power of forgiveness from my biological parents giving me up for adoption, I would still have the skeletons, the fears, and understanding why would my parents give me up? Who am
True,
I? What am I about? If I had
true,
not forgiven, God for taking my adopted mother from me
true,
and she had passed on, I would not be able to learn to love, to appreciate, and celebrate her legacy going forward. And for those
true,
who have heard me, the naysayers, the non believers, I wouldn't have that much more fuel to empower me to move forward. And
wonderful.
when we do not forgive, those are going to be the constant roadblocks in our life for anyone that we meet who has a similar trait, attribute, or quality that reminds us of our person who has hurt us, whether it's abuse of mental, emotional, physical, sexual, spiritual, that person will show up again and again. And this is an experience I've learned within the past year. I had
True.
actually
This
had
is
done one of my speaks on being bullied, shoved into lockers and thrown into garbage cans, sitting patiently awaiting in the girls' room in my elementary years, eating my lunch so I didn't get bullied, hoping the nurse would send me home because I only felt safe in my own home. And when
safe.
I said that, and one of the audience had said, "Wow, I never thought of that experience
Yes.
because I was a bully." And I turned to that person and I said, "I forgive you on behalf of all those whom you bullied." And the response was shock
Yeah.
because they really tapped into that moment and realized what they had done, whether they knew if it was correct or not because of how they were treated, and it
Yes.
their awareness.
So
So
that is such a great
this is very
example
powerful.
you're setting for others, basically, Andrea, by stating this experience of yours. It's heart wrenching because people do not share this personal experience of theirs on open platforms. And you have shared this and made people realize that it is really important to express and talk it out. There could be
Yes.
someone suffering. like you have
Absolutely.
been through. It's not necessary that you have shared it to gain some empathy from someone. It is because there could be someone who's suffering. There could be
Right.
someone still wanting to take that initiative to move forward, and still
Right.
someone looking for, a help somewhere. That could be in any frame, in any area of their life. There could be someone just wanting to know how forgiveness could be a great tool to personal freedom. It is something, my dear viewers, very important that we are talking with Andrea Mason about. Is something that life has taught us, that many challenges can actually make us open up to newer opportunities. And there are two sides to a coin. We have all the negatives and the positives within us. We need to write down our strengths and weaknesses and try to figure it out how we can overcome these weaknesses, and we can empower ourselves first to help others grow. Because the self acceptance that Andrea has talked about in the initial conversation is about self care. If you do not care for yourself, if you do not accept your own weaknesses, how are you going to be, as a coach, helping others
Right.
set their life on the right path? Am I right on this, Andrea?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The
Yeah,
best coach is the coach who's really dissected and understand their root causes of why they're doing what they don't do, because that opens up the opportunity to say, I felt what it's like to be abused. I know what it's like to be in pain. I know what it's like to be in fear. And the more comfortable I get in my own skin for full disclosure and transparency, I can guide you step by step. It's not, I'm not here as a leader to say, "Oh, I've been there," and then forget about it. I am honest and transparent about my experiences to resonate with you and to let you know I'm talking to my past self who has walked in that path before. I may not walk in your shoes, but I've taken that path and I know different ways that we can work to move forward and transform.
great. That is great. I always share a quote on my show. So this time I'm sharing: deal with the challenges openly, my reviewers, and learn to grow. The deep tip that I've shared with you all is utilizing forgiveness is a great tool to personal freedom. I would once again like to thank all the viewers who've joined us tonight for sharing your thoughts, commenting, loving, and liking our conversations. Because what all I do is I instill the confidence to communicate and break the barriers for a free talk. That's in itself a therapy. I believe that we as mental health experts can make a difference. And what a great way it would be if you all join hands and raise a toast, because there are people who are still suffering, my dear viewers. Do not remain stagnant. Ask for help. Find reasons to learn and grow. Stop
Yes.
blaming, criticizing, commenting on others' life. Start living your own life. Try dwelling in your inner soul, the facets that you have, the potential that you have. You need to explore those areas and try to develop them into the goals of your life. If you have yet not come around the goal of your life, you need to figure it out or take assistance. People like Andrea Mason, as personal accountability coach, can actually help people realize what they are looking into and what is the purpose of their life. If you are lost, you still have a lot to gain, my dear viewers. You don't need to commit an act of suicide. You don't need to fall short of your own expectations. You don't need to fall in deep depression. You don't need to say that I am having the blues. If you
Right.
really are, we are there to help you unitedly. We all are friends across the globe, and we all are there to express our concern that you all are safe in the hands of the Lord above. And this is what I all have for this show. But yes, I would love to ask Andrea a question, that as a personal accountability coach, do you think that you have, touched many lives? I'm sure that you have many fans of yours. And is there anything that you are looking forward to in the coming future as a personal accountability coach? And what would that book be named if tomorrow you write one?
Excellent question. I have had impact on amazing individuals. And one of my friends I connect, Nelson at thepositivedrip.com, he has empowered me and I have accountability with him. And it's amazing to find your family beyond borders. And when we open the lines of communication, be ourselves, surround ourselves with like minded individuals who have the same passion, the same mission, that is when the light illuminates. And that's when you are able to pass the torch to another and allow our energy, our positivity, and growth flourish through. The book, if I
True.
would write a book tomorrow, it would be Follow Your Heart and Not the Herd.
Wow. Wow, that is wonderful. That is something that's just coming in from your heart, and it is indeed so great to connect with you, Andrea, because this conversation should never end. I believe that I'm made for enhancing the confidence while we are conversing, so that the other party feels really happy and contented. That somebody could come and share certain things that they could not have shared on other platforms, and probably I count myself as the lucky one who can actually connect with a lot many people and gain an access into the life experiences of theirs. I might not be the best, but I'm still learning as you are. And I'm hoping that we all together remain connected, not only for the work purpose, but as friends, creating this milk of humanity always flowing. And I believe that I did justice to tonight's show with or without the technical glitches. I might say, my dear viewers, sometimes you have to put a smile up and you have to communicate further and you have to learn how you can embrace a challenge that is just coming next right up the next second. And you have to continue to hold on to that last ray of hope in your life that can still spark a great deal of difference and help you. One last message that you have for our audience, Andrea.
You know, we have this mindset that there is such thing as perfection. I'd like to offer that this evening. It's not,
Yes.
there's no such thing as perfection. There's such thing as practice makes progression. And if we are
Yes.
continuously progressing towards our success, towards our passion, towards helping the lives of others, that is what we need and can benefit and learn from each other. Remember,
True.
there's
That
someone
is
out there
wonderful.
that is listening. Somebody is watching, and you may be the piece of the puzzle that they may need. And in turn, you may receive a gift of your to yourself of what you need. We all work
True.
together in unity, and we are all complementary of one another. And when we
True.
start realizing that, the world is a beautiful place and nothing is impossible. You can say to yourself, I'm possible.
That is the best way any show can end. This is not an ending, my dear viewers. There's another beginning to a new soul who's going to come on the next episode, and we would be happy to announce it soon. In on Deep Talks, every heart and mind needs to express. The love seat here holds relevance with the bold moves of their own lives. The stories they have shared are the original self experiences that they are all talking about. I would love to raise it to all the bold souls who have actually endured the COVID and stay safe, stay mentally and physically fit, enjoy every moment of your life. Saying good night to all the viewers in India and a great day to all of them who are there on that side of the globe. I'm wishing Andrea Mason a beautiful life ahead, and let's stay connected and make a difference in the ones who come across us. Thanks a lot, Andrea, for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure
Absolutely.
hosting. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I open the forum to reach me at andreamasons.com as my
Yes,
complimentary gift to you as a session. Connect with me,
true.
type in deep talks, and I look forward to connecting, enhancing your quality of life as well as mine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.